everyone and everywhere. Children of the popcorn, hello. I am Scream Queen, here to talk about a horror movie with you guys with the lovely.
Yes.
Introduce yourselves.
I'm Mr. Popcorn. Fantastic to have you back, Scream Queen. You were missed, yes?
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
2024, it's a new year for horror. Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yes. I'm the Baron, speaking to you from the Baron Cave, which you can't see because I've got a virtual background. But look, my hands disappear when I do this. It's weird. But yes, welcome back from Japan.
And I've got
Thank
this
you.
kind of cardboard cutout halo around my head. See it? See it?
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm actually in event cinemas right now. They
Ah,
allowed me the space to record, so it's really exciting.
aircon.
Nice.
It's the aircon.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't have aircon at home, so I was like, I'm really desperate.
Uh,
So that was really
but that's what
nice.
we went to see Night Swim the other night without you.
Aha, yeah. I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
I honestly don't know a lot going into it, so I'm very excited.
Yeah.
And
We're
also scared.
sorry.
I didn't realize it
We're
was a Bloomhouse situation.
Atomic and Blumhouse, their merger, their first
Yeah.
Yeah,
official release under the merger. Yeah. What a
Yeah.
start.
interesting.
Yeah.
Bodes well, bodes
So
well.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
Once you listen to it, sorry. Still check out the movie though.
Yeah, yeah.
well, we are continuing our Australian horror series that we were doing last year. We're still doing it again. There's a lot more Australian horror there. So today I have picked the movie Relic, which is Australian horror film about three women, three generations of women. There is Edna, who's the grandmother, Kay, who is the mother, and Sam, who is the granddaughter. And it's basically
Mm,
about these two women, Kay and Sam, mother and daughter, have come to the grandmother's house she's gone missing. She's been alerted that she's gone missing. They're waiting for her to come back. And then she just magically appears back one day and she's sort of
Mm.
um losing touch with her memories, and it's a lot to do with getting older and dementia, and it's a wild ride, that's for
Mm.
sure. So let me just what are your initial thoughts while I'm getting all my notes and stuff?
yeah,
What did you
sure,
guys
sure.
think? Had either of you seen the film before?
No,
No.
I hadn't seen it. Hadn't seen it.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I'd seen, I think, a trailer or something on Stan.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
Stan original,
yeah, yeah.
which is exciting.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I won't say that it's going to go straight to the top of my classic list, but it's a slow build, and by the time you get to the end, it's creepy,
Mm.
AF.
Yeah.
Creepy, yeah. It's but yeah, like it's got those strong themes of like family and dementia and like generation stuff,
Mhm,
and it
mhm,
it's almost like a wolf in sheep's clothing that's in a
Mm.
wolf's clothing.
I
That's
know what
such
you're
a
saying. I know
that's
what you're
actually a
saying.
great way
Yeah.
to describe it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What about
Mr.
you,
I
Mr.
Popcorn?
Popcorn?
yeah, I thought it was I thought overall it's very good. I don't know if it's for me, but that's due,
Mm.
I think, in part to extenuating factors. Yeah, in my own life.
Mm.
But I'll
Yeah.
get into all of
Sure.
that. But a
Okay.
well-made film, certainly not amateur.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, not at
Yeah.
all.
So
Definitely glad I saw it because I've been meaning to see it for a while. And yeah, and I like that we have another Australian Gothic horror. Yeah, because this is
Mm.
very Australian Gothic, except it's down in
mm,
Victoria this time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
So this film is directed by Natalie Erica James. So she's a Japanese Australian from Japan, a Japanese Australian movie maker. She co-wrote this film as well, and I think she's great. And another Sissy was directed by a woman. This is directed by a woman.
Mhm.
This is very like female-led film
Yep.
as
Yeah,
well. Like
nice.
even
It
just
has 3 females. Yeah. And if
yes,
we think about how,
only.
yeah, 3 females have been presented in cinema and mythology. Yes. So I just kind of
Yeah,
picked up that's a little significant. Yeah. So good choice.
yeah,
Good choice. I like what we're doing as a pod, as a collective, actually. We are highlighting strong female produced and led films. Yeah. Very cool. So back to you.
yeah. This, I mean, even I was reading interviews, even the cast were just talking about how significant it was to have such like a female team. I don't think there were
Okay.
really like any men involved in like the making
Okay.
of this movie, which I think is very interesting. Oh,
Emotionally and
the
psychologically.
co-writer is, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
The co-writer's male?
I think so. I think it was co-written with, I can't see it here. Yeah, Christian White is the name of the co-writer.
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. But I definitely understand what it gets into psychologically and emotionally in terms of familial relations here. Yeah, grandmother,
Yeah,
mother, daughter,
I
why they
think
wanted that energy, for want of a better word, on the set. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
heavily based on, the director and writer's personal life.
Okay.
I think she went to visit her grandmother in Japan, and she said she started writing the film the first time she didn't recognize who she was. Um,
Yeah.
so
That's
if
yeah.
that if
Ooh.
yeah, if that sort of speaks to the tone of this movie, it's it's if you've had people with dementia in your life, it will hit home. So that's just a warning. If you haven't seen this film and are wanting to watch this film, also if you haven't seen it, this will just spoilers, but
Oh yeah.
it's
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 We
very
should just
on.
post.
heavy.
Yeah,
What's
we
it
should just
on?
say at the top of
Stan.
every
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, every
It's on
podcast.
Stan, watch it,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah,
it's quite, it has quite heavy themes as well. Like
yeah.
it's
We
pretty rough, but under the sort of veil of horror, so maybe that makes it easier, or maybe it makes it worse. Who knows?
yeah. But yeah, we are going to spoil the fuck out of this. So yeah.
Yeah. As
Oh, for
always, as
sure. Beat
always.
by
Yeah.
beat.
Yeah.
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 And I did note Jake Gyllenhaal's name in the
Oh,
credits at the end as
oh,
one
I've
of like the
What?
executive producers.
Oh,
yeah. No, I did
okay.
notice that the first time I watched it.
Thanks, Donnie Darko. It's cool. Yeah. Sorry, couldn't.
That's fair. That's fair. Uh, one of the
Yeah.
things one of the things that I
Sorry.
enjoy looking at when I look at IMDb for these films when we do the podcast is to have a look down at like the similar pics at the bottom of the page, like other films that are similar to this.
Okay.
And I note on
Mm,
mine, Talk to Me has come up as number one next to this one. So yeah, that's kind
interesting.
of cool.
I would never put
Uh,
those two movies together. I guess Grief,
yeah, Victorian
loosely.
horror.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
in
that's what I
yeah.
think they're doing. Hey, other successful Australian films, so we can all get
Yeah,
money. Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah,
fine.
Which is
Um,
great.
but speaking of like, say, similar, films, or if you wanted to double feature this in a truly devastating double feature on dementia, you could throw this in with The Taking of Deborah Logan.
oh,
Have
I've
either
not
of you
seen that.
seen that?
I've
That's about
heard great things
dementia,
about it though.
but it's way more demonic. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a found footage demonic film. Yeah,
Oh,
but very cool. I do recommend it. Yes. Dementia does
spooky.
scare me as well. The idea of your mother not recognizing you and knowing your own name here. So this will strike
Yeah.
home with most people. Yeah. But please, after you.
Yeah. Did we want to get into sort of the plot of the
If
movie?
do you have anything, info
Anything to
wise you want to bring up?
uh
Anything to add?
a lot of it is
All good if not?
very thematic. So I
True.
think I more
Yes,
just
very
want to
true.
like break
Yeah.
down
Okay.
the themes of the film.
Yeah.
The director went to VCA. That's a fun fact.
Cool.
So
Cool.
really, she
Yeah.
seems very young, which I thought
Okay.
was, quite impressive. She hasn't had a lot of projects. I think she has a few films, if not films, short films out. But yeah, she seems very like early in her career. So I found this
Okay.
movie very
I believe it's the directorial debut, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Am I
she
watching
it
today? Yeah.
premiered at Sundance in 2020. So
Another Sundance film.
yeah.
Cool. From Australia. That's very cool. Like,
Um
talk to me.
yes.
Who
So
plays the
it's
daughter?
fresh. It is Bella
Bella Heathcote.
Heathcote.
She played
Yeah.
Gigi on Neon Demon. I don't know if either of you have seen that.
Ah,
That's a
yeah.
Nicholas Winding
No.
Refn film, who is most known for Drive with Ryan Gosling. Excellent film. Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
played Gigi. She plays an evil LA model, but I'm talking
Yeah.
hyper real. If you know the style of the director, yeah. Hyper
Yeah,
real, hyper
I forgot
violent.
about that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I did not recognize her at all. Because the accents in this are so uniquely Australian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting though, because Emily Mortimer, who plays, I would say, the lead, Kay, the mother,
Yeah, sure.
the
Yeah.
daughter of
Yeah.
the woman suffering from dementia, is played by Emily Mortimer, who is British, which I think is
Okay.
funny. That the lead is a British woman, but she does
Interesting.
great
Okay.
Australian accents. So
Yeah, didn't pick it. And
there
we
you
so
go.
Robin Nevin is played by as grandma then, yeah?
The grandmother, yes,
Yeah.
The
Edna.
grandmother. Edna, thank you.
She's one of my favorite characters from the TV series Upper Middle Bogan, where she plays the mother of the main character who
Oh.
finds out she's adopted due to a blood test, like an accidental blood test.
Okay, that's funny.
And yeah, Upper Middle Bogan, if you're an adopted person, check it out. It's a nice light journey into an adopted person's life.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
it's funny. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's enough preamble. Scream Queen, take it away, please.
Yeah, great. Well, the movie starts. We get a very sort of ominous opening shot of a bathtub overflowing. So the bathtub is running, it's overflowing, it's leaking out the door, down the steps, and then it's our first introduction to the grandmother, Edna, and there's this sort of dimming and like pulsing light from like a Christmas tree, as the water sort of gathers at her feet, and we see we meet this sort of dark figure that is sort of following Edna around. It just a glimpse, and then it cuts away, and that's sort of would you call it a cold open? I guess.
Yeah, it's a cold open.
Yeah. That's the cold open that we get. It's just this sort of ominous, like there's no dialogue, nothing, just this sort of water pouring down the stairs, filling the house, and she's just sort of she's there. She's obviously just gotten out of the bath. She's just got like a towel. She's just standing, watching the living room as this light just sort of pulses on and off.
Do we count this as a Christmas movie?
I thought that when I saw it.
That's a
yeah, it came into my
flashback,
head.
right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
Yeah, okay,
It's
all
not
right.
like Christmas.
if it was
The
set
most depressing kind, yeah.
saddest Christmas movie you could possibly. It's the only Christmas movie that never mentions Christmas. It's
Yeah, I mean, we see the Christmas tree. That's about it, really.
it's a beautiful Christmas tree. I'll say that I was mesmerized. But yeah, so that's sort of the introduction we get. Then we, have the title card, Relic.
Yeah.
we also see
Grandma
this
is butt naked around potential
butt naked.
electrocution. Yeah.
Yeah.
So things aren't right. Things aren't going well.
Yeah.
No, and then of course we see this sort of glimpse of someone or something shifting
that.
in this
Was
chair.
that, remind me, Scream Queen, how was that? Was that seen as, you know what I mean? Mold? Was that seen as a symbolic representation of mold? That figure, the way it was shown?
The figure? I would say so. Like something dark, like this sort of like, I don't want to say shadow self, but
because if you pair that with the last shot on the door, Yeah, that's just what I'm
Yeah.
curious about. The whole
I
mold
would
thematic throughout this.
Yeah, well, I guess there's a sort of like darkening throughout the entire film
Yeah,
of
okay,
like
cool.
the
Cool.
house, the people.
Yeah.
So I think that figure is sort of like the final stage that's like always in like the peripheral
Okay,
vision,
cool.
I
Nice,
guess.
nice, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Um,
That's cool. I'll go with that.
and then so that's sort of all we get. And when it's like, what's going on? And then we see the mother, Kay, so the daughter of this woman. So I keep saying mother and grandmother. There's several mothers, several daughters. So I'll just use names from here on out.
Yeah.
So Kay, she gets a phone call. Edna has gone missing. We don't really understand the timeline either at this stage. So Edna has gone missing. They don't know where she is. I think it's probably reported by neighbors, and they go to her house and basically trying to, start a search party. Is she still in the house? There's this sort of like the fruit is moldy. It's sort of like there's a level of like ick to the house. It's not in disrepair.
I think the tagline, the log line for this movie is everything decays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is that in visual representation of that. Yeah. Going on.
Yeah, for sure.
To start with.
Yeah, to begin with.
Yeah.
They're sort of seeing her like she has like post-it notes all over the house, like this, and there's
scares me.
Yeah.
That's what really scares me. Yeah, dementia scares me. There we are.
Look, it's
it.
rough. Yo, yeah, we'll get into it. This movie is like fear incarnate to me personally.
Okay.
And they're like they literally have no idea where they are. They go upstairs. There's sort of like this. It's very sort of gut-wrenching, especially so early in the film. Is they go upstairs, they go to her bedroom, and the daughter sort of like goes up to the door, Sam, and then the mother sort of goes, "Oh, hang on, like let me go first," basically implying that like her mother could be dead in her bedroom, and like she doesn't want her daughter to have to like walk in on that. Is sort of the implication. It's very, very dark, and she sort of Kay opens the door. There's this sort of body-like figure or shape in a lump in the bed. Yes. It is not the grandmother, thankfully.
Spoilers.
But yeah, spoilers. She's not dead at the start of the movie. Shame. So yeah, they have no idea where she is. There's no sign of her whatsoever. Did we have any theories like this early into the movie? Did we sort of have any like what were we thinking at this stage? I'm just curious, honestly.
She's wandered off. She's wandered out of the house. I mean, the problem is, I mean, I'd seen a trailer, so I had a bit of an idea that we would be seeing her.
Okay,
so
I didn't. Yeah,
so it's like, oh well, okay. So I'm pretty when she walked into the bedroom, there's a lump on the bed. My brain went, that's not her. That's just some cushions or something.
Sure. It's too early. She's a figure. She's on the poster. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's on the poster. Yeah.
But continuous. I mean, like, so you didn't have any prescient, and prescient's not the word. You didn't have any feelings of foreshadowing or anything going on.
No. She's wandered off. She's out in the woods somewhere. She'll be back.
I knew there was something. Well, I definitely felt strongly that there was something. Supernatural's the right word. Yes.
Yeah, I would say supernatural.
Creepy.
Yeah. There was
something
something. Yeah, there was something compelling, something creepy, compelling grandma here to behave in the way that she was. But even at the start, I mean, you see her that she's fit and spry later on. Absolutely, that's quickly established. I didn't think she was dead. No. Yeah, I had no fear of that. Not just because she's on the poster. No, but I was watching it with a watch along friend, Ken's shout out, and we both, knew she was going to come back. Yeah.
Yeah,
But main
sure.
point being, there was something, other going on, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because, all we see is like the water coming down the stairs, her just standing there, and there's someone else in the house with her. We don't really know. Like, that is a huge, I mean, find out later that that was a year before
Yeah.
all of this
Yes.
happens.
Prior
So
Christmas.
there's a huge time jump from the cold open to the beginning of the film,
Ooh,
which I
is this a
find
Christmas movie? Because it's Christmas again.
it's true. That's true. What a good Christmas. What a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's also very important, there's also a very interesting relationship between Kay and her daughter Sam established. I would say like from the get-go, even just like it sort of remind me of Hereditary in the way that
Okay.
the grandmother having a really close relationship with the daughter,
Sure.
as opposed to her own daughter, but her
Yeah.
granddaughter. Like, just this sort of Sam is obviously very distressed about her grandmother. Kay is sort of a little bit more standoffish. Sam crawls, I think, through the dog door in the door
Yeah.
because she can't get in, and then she's like looking around, and her mother has to like knock on the door for Sam to let her
Yeah.
in. I thought that pretty early on established that there's this sort of
Mhm.
disconnect between
Yeah.
them.
They don't
Which I found
really
very
like each other, and they've been brought together out of
No.
obligation because
Yeah.
they don't want the
Yeah.
guilt of letting the old woman die without having at least seen her once before she
Yeah.
dies, because they've left her
Yeah.
alone for a while. Yeah, there's a lot of that. That's
Yeah.
the
It's
the
clear. Yeah.
the impetus
I
at the
got the
start,
feeling
the guilt impetus. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the feeling that they hadn't spoken for a while as well.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That
They
card
don't know
game
what each other.
in the kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah. She has quit her job. She's, started
That's
working
it.
at her old
Yeah,
job. Her mother
that
doesn't know
interaction.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, Kay hasn't been talking to her daughter, and Kay hasn't been talking to her mother either.
Yeah. Everyone
But
just
we
looks
do.
really sorry, I'm rambling. You
Oh,
go.
no. I was just saying we do know that Kay got a phone call from Edna a few weeks ago saying that she was worried that there was someone trying to get into the house.
Get into the house. Yeah. Yeah.
And the sort of evidence
Okay, yeah.
she gives is, doors are left open, lights are left on, things have moved, and she doesn't know who moved them. Again, it's all sort of like you can explain it. Sam is very concerned, like, oh, like something could have happened to her, and the mom is very dismissive, and like she has memory problems. She never says dementia either. She like that's something I guess very like interesting about the film is it's
That's
not like
significant, yes.
that she's just saying, oh, she just like, misplaces things. She's like sort of forgets things. It's never like, oh, she's, she has this disease. So we have this sort of strange relationship. There's a sound design of this movie is also great.
Sorry,
very...
there's Screen Queen. Before we move into sound design, I just wanted to point out that everyone looks very tired in this film, intentionally so. Yeah, everyone is very fatigued by life in general, and then they've got to deal with this situation for the reasons I explained prior. And also, you're about to get into sound design, so talking about form, the lighting, the coloring, the natural lighting. The green and the blacks and the browns to add to that. And I don't think they've started to emphasize the house just yet, because the sound design is a huge part of that. But you were talking about the fruit decay, but there's a lot of all these kind of interactions go on in shadow or deep green background with specks and mold in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does really feel like rural Victoria, and a very tired kind of beleaguered, obligated family. I think it's set up very well with very minimal dialogue. Yeah. So for a first film, these are pretty, the tenets of someone of experience, that they're pulling off. So shout out. What is the
Yeah.
director's name again? Natalie James.
Natalie James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sound design, please. Yeah.
No, I was also just agreeing with you. It's
Mm.
very dark. Like the actual like
Yeah.
on screen is very dark. So much so when I
Yes.
first watched this movie, this is my second time watching it. When I first watched it, a lot of the scares, this movie doesn't really have like jump scares per se, but like a lot of the sort of figure-like things moving in the corners, I missed a lot of it because I just couldn't see. Like
Yeah,
it's so
sure.
dark and
Yeah.
it's so shadow-like, that I actually just like, and it's a lot in the background, not so much in the foreground. I just miss them. And so I was watching this with people and they were like, oh no, this is so creepy. And I was like, wait, what happened? Because I genuinely missed it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I know that experience.
so
Okay.
it's very dark. So put those blinds down. Anyone who
Yeah.
wants to watch
Nighttime
this
movie. Very much a
yeah, for
nighttime
sure.
movie. Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So the sound design, I would say this film is very quiet until it isn't. Like it's very
Yeah.
like there's
Perfect.
no sound. It's always
Perfect.
sort of just them walking around the house until something, the sort of tension starts to build and the sort of tapping and creaking and
The creaking was glorious all throughout this movie.
yeah, it
Sound
just
design is amazing
starts.
throughout.
It's so great. I should actually
Mm.
should name the sound designer because it's just there's also this sort of like not a heartbeat, but it is that sort of the same with the lighting, that there's sort of like a pulsing sound
Yeah, there
sort of
is too.
throughout,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
it's very like it's
Oh,
uneasy.
that's very telltale heart-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
figure. There's a figure that's coming as well. Yes, the whole time through.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the house.
It's the
Yeah.
gothic. It's the
Very
gothic
gothic.
genre.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. This movie is quite goth AF. Yeah.
The composer is Brian Rietzel.
Okay.
It's very good. It's
Does it have
you know you
sound designer there? Because we're talking score and design.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, both are
Gosh,
excellent.
there's
Yeah,
so many names. So a lot of people
but
worked
it's
on
cool.
this film, so very
Yeah,
well done. I'll find it.
that's cool. That's cool. But yes, whoever you are, shout out. Yes, definitely. Superb
Yeah,
work.
it's just so great. It's like you barely notice it, and then it's like the only thing you can think about. Is sort of how I would describe my experience with the sound design in this film.
Was it
We
set? Current times. Sorry, Karen.
So we also see that Kay is having these nightmares. There's this a very important motif throughout the film is the stained glass window on the door of the grandmother's house, which is this sort of like stained glass tree and landscape. And it's one of the first things we see is molding. And Kay has memories, flashbacks to this old cabin with the same glass window and a body decaying, flies and like rotted flesh, and like a body just like falling to the ground. It's pretty. I thought that was pretty horrific. I was like, gosh.
Yeah.
Gross. It's definitely gross.
Gross. And you're like, who is this person? And it's clear that she has this sort of experience with something similar that is like really scaring her. Like she's the focus of this film. Her experience and the way that she's navigating her mother and like her daughter and like being in between that drives this film, and like her fear drives this film. It's so fascinating. So they go to sleep. She has this dream about this sort of dead body that she comes upon in this cabin with the same stained glass window, and then they hear the kettle boiling, and the mother is Edna's back. She's just in
Nan's
the
back.
kitchen.
Yay!
Gran is back. And she's just hanging out. She's just making tea.
Everything's fine.
Um,
It's all good.
everything's
Roll
fine.
credits. Roll credits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she
then
went
she's fine. They all
walkabout.
have,
Done.
and then they all give each other Christmas presents, and the movie ends.
Yay!
Yeah. Gremlin, Mogwai's there. It's
And
a happy time.
Yeah.
and Sammy decides to stay in the small country town, and she marries a man who wears plaid.
Yeah. Dream.
So this has been Evil Popcorn. And,
Yeah,
Yeah, well.
and that's the end of the episode. It's such a nice movie. I love this one.
yeah. But no.
No. So she's back and she's
Hmm.
like, where were you? And she's like, would you want tea? Absolutely ignoring any questions about her whereabouts. She doesn't look completely with it.
No.
Yeah,
you know,
there's something off.
She's got
Absolutely.
muddy feet. She looks like someone who's been sort of walking through the forest for 3 days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But like also not. Like also like where have you been? And so she sort of gets they call the police, who have been doing like just like searches of the forest to find this woman. And they're like, yeah, she's back. And we meet the grandmother like in more of a lucid state, and she's like very sort of like no nonsense, like Mr. Popcorn said
Everything's
before. She's
fine.
very, yeah, she's fit, she's healthy,
Yeah, she's sassy.
relatively speaking. She's
almost
sassy.
Yeah.
She kind of reminds me of my grandma,
Okay.
to be honest. Even down to just like the jeans and the
Okay.
button-up shirt and the bun. I was like, wow, this is exactly what my grandma is like.
Shout out
And
Grandma
just
Scream Queen.
Grandma
Yeah.
Scream Queen. Joan, absolutely no nonsense. Very like, oh, they love to worry about me and blah blah blah.
Okay.
She doesn't really think anything is wrong, and it's this very bizarre like what is going on. And we established that she's very close with her granddaughter as well. They have a very loving relationship. Her granddaughter sort of idolizes her, I would say, and she even so far as to give her her a ring, like a sort of heirloom. She gives her granddaughter this ring. She sort of says, "Oh, your mother's already had her shot, so you can have this." And it's a very nice moment, but I feel like Kay is still quite skeptical of the situation. Also, the nurse that checks out Edna notices there's a black sort of splotch bruise,
A bruise
on her chest.
Yeah.
A bruise.
Yes. Very
And she said, "Oh, I must have run into something."
I'm clumsy.
She just buttons up her shirt and she's like, it's just, normal bruise. Nothing really strange
good in the
about
hood.
it. Yeah. Kay is looking at nursing homes. You're sort of seeing the
sorry,
in a
so before we
doctor-
carry on, just one thing may have missed that I really liked. It was with the dreams. It was showing, I think at times, grandma in the house, but the house has become quite different. Yes, within the dreams, it's the same place, but I was talking about the green and the shadow, that mute, sickly green with the black cross shadows and the mold and the creaking and the tilted Dutch angles from up above, that sort of thing. This is represented in the dream, and spoilers, of course, that comes back into play again later on. Yeah. So there is this kind of foreshadowing of the parallel that occurs later on in the film.
The kind of house within the house.
Yes.
Kind of memory
This
palace
is the
kind of thing.
first shadow, the foreshadowing of that. Yeah.
Also,
where there's rooms that they hadn't been in. Even though they were searching for a woman that was possibly dead in the house, there were unfamiliar parts of the house that the later they go into is like, this they didn't search here when they came in.
Yeah. which was a very
They-
interesting, very interesting choice. Not saying that I didn't dislike it, but we'll discuss it later on about the ways it was done. Yeah.
Yeah,
But please,
it's
just wanted to point that out. Yeah, go.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm definitely skipping over parts. I'm like trying to
that's
look at
all
my
good.
notes
Yeah,
and
yeah,
also
yeah.
the synopsis. But we have the neighbors, which sort of shed light on Edna's sort of, I would say a
Decline?
little bit of a decline. I was going to say nosedive, probably not the best. uh, we have a father and a son, Jamie, and Jamie clearly has a great relationship with Edna. Would go over and visit her. He's sort of 18 years old. And Jamie says to Sam when she's outside having a smoke, "Oh, Dad doesn't really want me going over to
Yeah.
visit Edna anymore." And she's sort of like,
Interestingly, Chris Bunton, the young actor that played that character, is actually a multiple gold medal winning Special Olympian for Australia.
"Wow,
Legit.
that is
Respect to you,
impressive."
sir.
What sport?
The Down Syndrome Gymnastics World Championship, Bochum, Germany, Shanghai 2007, Athens 2011, Florence 2016. He's won a bunch of medals, including a bunch of gold medals.
Wow.
Cool.
There you go.
And
An
you
Olympian.
pulled your role off well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
talented
Yeah,
dude.
it did well. Well, Chris Bunton has got some really good roles under. I'm presuming his. I'm seeing male presenting. I don't know person's pronouns, but Wolf Like Me is a TV show.
Yeah.
Relic, Little Monsters, Doctor, like bunch of things. Has written a couple of things. Yeah.
Shout
Great.
out.
That's really cool.
And I didn't realize it, but Bella was in the creation of Wonder Woman film, Professor Marsden and the Wonder Women. She played one of the main characters, the wife's girlfriend. Like the guy that created Wonder Woman had a wife, and they had another partner, and Bella played the other partner of the guy. The three of them created Wonder Woman.
Bella's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
Bella's
she's in another Stan series as well. I just don't know the name of it off the top of my head.
Australia, proud.
Australia,
I'm just gonna go fill up my water bottle, but I can still hear you on the wireless headphones, so keep going, please.
Yeah.
And she was in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Of course. Which is she Jane?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think.
she has
Hang
Jane
on.
vibes.
Yeah, Professor Marsden and the Wonder Women is the name of the thing that she was in. Yeah, she was Jane Bennett. Yeah, she was.
Love that movie.
Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah.
She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And so is Emily Mortimer. She's all over the place, but not Australian, so we're not going to talk that much about her.
And yeah, Robin Nevins has been in stuff forever. So I was going to say Robin Nevin, not Nevins. She's not a rap star. Robin Nevin. Yes, but Robin has been in a bunch of things that the young male actor, whose name now I had it up, but that's okay. But
Chris
she's been in a bunch
Bunting.
of has been in a bunch of stuff that he's been in as well. So they kind of acted together before, but they don't have any scenes together in this.
No, even though they're supposed to, they have this relationship, which I think is kind of indicative of the distance that Edna has sort of put between herself and her community and her neighbors. Not put between herself, her illness has put between her and her neighbors. And then her family, seemingly.
Seemingly.
Yeah. Ooh. Where are we up to? I also, something that I noted when I was watching this film, Emily Mortimer Kay is cleaning a lot. Throughout the film.
Good observation.
When she gets there, she's vacuuming, she's wiping things down, she's, and I
moving the chair back into place.
Yeah, because she notices that a chair has been spun around. I think it's quite clearly her father's chair. Her father has passed away pretty recently, and it's not really discussed the nature of his passing, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had something similar happen to him that is happening to Edna
Yeah,
now.
probably.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. And
you think about the end as well. So yeah.
yeah, and she tells Sam also about her great grandfather, who she said he lost it a little bit in the end.
Oh,
And I
that's
think
right.
that's
Yeah.
sort of who she's dreaming about sort of finding. And I don't know whether he just like stopped being able to take care of himself and he just died in this cabin, and like they found his like rotted body or something traumatic like that. But I would not be surprised if that's sort of it's never said explicitly, but it's clear that, you know, a lot of people in her family have dealt with this disease. And I see the sort of obsessive cleaning as a way to sort of she's trying to sort of prevent the inevitable happening to her. She's sort of trying to keep on top of this thing that she can like see getting like closer and closer and closer to her.
If I can get the house clean, I can stave it off.
Yeah, she was like, well, I'm, you know,
Yeah.
that my house is never going to get to this, like, I'm never going to let things get to this point.
The mold will not take over me. The mold will not take over
Yeah.
me. And she does portray a person on the verge of a break pretty constantly really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the real dark side of pull your bootstraps up kind of mentality going on here with Kate. Yeah.
And it's just
mixed with denial
Oh,
as well. Mixed with denial as well.
Yeah.
But please.
I was just going to say she's a late entree away from screaming at the waitress.
She is, but like she'll feel so bad about it.
Yeah.
Like she's also just a ball of guilt. Like she feels so guilty that she hasn't
when she was
visited her
crying in the
mother.
car, outside the meeting for the nursing, the care home, the 5-star living care home, that made me go,
the
that made me
ocean
double
views.
take what the fuck.
That ocean view was
and she
lovely.
looks out the window and it's just houses with like a slight peak of the water.
And that's in Melbourne, the fancy place.
Just to the right of the pole transformer, but just to the left of the really ugly brutalist concrete building block.
It's terrible.
It's a bit of we don't care for old people in this society globally. Message.
It hurts to watch. She's so good because she's just, you know, there's all this pent up guilt and she's just so scared. And she is it's the push and pull between her daughter who thinks she's not doing enough and her mother that she has just completely
because she's kind.
alienated
from. Kind. Don't want to make her out as a bitch here at all.
Readers,
you know, people listening.
She's desperate. She's just desperate, and
she's kind, but she's tired again. The tiredness, it's what I.
It's clear she has sort of a full-time job that she's sort of have to do in the midst of this all. She makes the phone call to someone. I don't know if it's a sibling or something, asking them to come and help, and she, you know, it's clear she's not getting any help from anyone. Really. And then she has to deal with all of the sort of like snide remarks from Sam. It's like it's a pretty rough situation.
It's real. It's very real. This is, you know, this is a family.
And the director did say like they wanted this, they didn't it's just a taste thing, I guess. She's not a sort of jump scare kind of director. She did want this to be like a very itching, slow
a slow itch to a scratch, to appeal.
I think a lot of her, you know, she's part Japanese. A lot of her inspiration she draws from like Asian horror films, and I feel like Japanese horror, folklore. Especially Japanese folklore, which I think her most recent movie is a Japanese folk horror, which so check it out. I think it's called Iron Mask. That might be wrong.
We'll
I will double check.
We'll do it on the show notes then.
I think I have a quote here somewhere about the.
And I will post up the short for Night Swim tomorrow. Just wanted to give the new one a bit of breathing time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she
Um,
was just talking about the value of just like the slow sort of like the slowness of this film is very intentional. And I wouldn't say it's like so it's not like boring slow. It's just like the tension is definitely
Ah.
building throughout. I mean, that might just be the taste thing, but
She worked on Upgrade, which was kind of cool. Out of the
yeah, I liked
out of the
Upgrade.
out of the field sort of action
Yeah,
film.
a good atomic monster film. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, there was
Yeah.
Atomic
oh,
Monster. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
Different pace to this altogether.
Oh, very different.
Almost
Very
opposite end of the
different.
spectrum. So Noah going in
Yeah.
basically, I think is what Scream Queen is conveying here. This is slow burn, slow.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like there's always something happening on screen.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
at the same
totally. Not
time.
boring, but
No.
yeah, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
more
So
just like it's a mystery. Like
so the
it's not because you sort of know, but it's yeah.
the
Yeah.
where Sissy for me fell down
Mm,
was with the overly long shots with nothing in them. And this
yes.
could have gone
Yeah.
down that route this route, and it didn't. So there's always something dynamic to catch your eye and keep you interested.
Yeah. It again, it's sort of that shadowy figure that is always in the peripheral of this.
Yeah.
The character's
Uh,
periphery, always in the sort of camera.
and
It's yeah.
and the soundscape also was amazing. Like
Mm,
Yeah,
the sound
top notch. Maybe my
gave
favorite element, to
further
be blunt.
depth. Yeah.
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 I've noted it 4 times in my notes, the sound.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
yeah.
it will there are moments where it just like it reaches just like a crescendo of and it's
Mm.
just so tense and then it'll drop and you
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
like it never
And it also
happened.
builds. Like it builds from nothing where you're not hearing it at all. And then all of a sudden there's something creepy happening. And then you realize that the sound has been happening the whole time.
Yeah.
It just it yeah, oof, it was great.
Yeah.
I would love to watch
Yeah.
I would love to watch it and like listen to it in headphones.
Oh yeah, you do so. It's
Oh, yeah,
do
it's a
yeah,
good
I did.
idea.
I did. Yeah. You hear a
Okay.
lot. You may be missing. There's a lot
Maybe
to
too
this sound
scary for
design.
me.
Well, maybe during the day with the window open, put the headphones on.
Yeah. There are some
Yeah.
good scares in this as well. I will like this is not I don't want just because it's a slow burn, it doesn't mean it's I would say that it is creepy.
Okay.
And there are some
Yeah.
like really eerie parts for me. Not like not scary. I wouldn't call it like horrific scary, but there are some like really spooky imagery in it
Mm.
for sure.
Okay, speaking of scares, I'm going to tell my little technology fuck up last night watching this movie. So I was a narration started early on in the film, about 10 minutes into the film, yeah? And I was like, 10, 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, this is an interesting approach. It's like a storybook world. I wonder what they're going to do with the narrative voices here, how they're going to mix it up. I became quite invested. Then I about 5-10 minutes later on, where they're basically describing everything in a nice, very nice English female voice, everything that is on the screen, everything that is happening.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got the hearing, the
Yeah.
vision impaired thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it became auto-generated somehow. But again, I don't know if I've been hacked by some very malicious hacker because it just suddenly went onto the stand settings and I couldn't take it off. I had to pause the movie, go back and restart it. And then
Yeah.
it went back onto the normal, not that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and why I mentioned that is when she was under the bed, was it
Yes.
grandma looking under the bed and the book dropped and she hit her head that moment, which was obviously meant to be a jump scare, but they explained everything that happened the moment after. Grandma hit her, book drops, grandma hits her head. I was like, no, this cannot be right. This cannot be right. So
that's a good chunk of the film.
It was a good 10, 15, 20 minutes of like, what the fuck?
That is
So
look,
yeah,
that's
slightly
definitely a new
embarrassing, but
experience.
it was it was funny. But then after that, then the fears started. Then it all started to make sense what they were doing with the scare. Yeah. So yeah, there's my funny fuck up. Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean that is a spooky moment when the mother says, "Can you it's gone under the bed. Her eyes sort of follow it, and she said it's under the bed, and she says, "Can you check under the bed for me?" And it's the thing in a horror
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
They
yeah.
check
Then
under the bed.
grandma
There's
checks the
nothing
book. Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, there is something there, and we
Yeah.
see it. It's alive,
Mhm,
And
and it's breathing.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Scary, very
Yeah.
scary. It's Kay sort of just like realizing that something is really wrong. And she can't really deny it anymore because she's seeing it. It's right in front of her face. And she's just trying to
Yeah.
get Sam to see how dire it is as well. Because Sam right now is like, oh, well, my she's perfect. She's so sweet. She's just given me a ring.
Mhm.
And this is where it sort of starts to. Oh, also, I just want to mention, I have this in my notes here. There's a lot of filming through glass and like through mirrors, and also like not necessarily like transparent glass either, like sort of a little bit opaque. It's sort of
Dirty.
yeah, like dirty.
Yeah.
Like, it sort of blurs things and impairs like the sort of what you see of the characters and stuff, which is very interesting, obviously very intentional to
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
like abstract your sort of perception of people. It's really beautiful. It's so clever. And there's this really great part where Kay is sort of confronting her mother and Sam is sitting there. But when Kay's speaking, you can only see her, and Edna and Sam are cut out. But when Edna is speaking, it's like a shot of Edna and like barely Sam, but like through like sort of like filtered through glass. It's really interesting.
Mhm.
It's just the way that they use the camera to sort of like just show what's happening internally and like how things are warping.
Yeah.
And it is also representing how the characters are seeing each other, how they feel about each other, how we're meant to perceive them on the screen, and whatever
Yeah.
state of real or figurative, decay again. Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
it shows the divide between Edna and Sam and then Kay
Oh, yes,
on
yes,
like
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
outer as well.
Yeah.
And also like Sam never calls her mum. Sam always
No.
calls her
No.
Kay.
Mhm.
Which
Yeah.
I was like, well,
Mhm.
that's red
Mhm.
flag.
Yeah.
So I think a huge turning point in the film is where Sam sort of has her first moment where Edna like sort of loses it a bit. She is having this conversation like, oh, like grandma,
Everything's fine.
what if I moved in here? Like, I could move in and we could be together and that would be great. Someone would look after you, blah, blah, blah. And then Edna notices that she's wearing the ring that belongs to her, and she
Her
thinks
ring.
that her ring, and she thinks that Sam has stolen it, and she's trying to rip it off her finger so much that it almost looks like she like is gonna break her finger. Sam has to pull away, and she's
That's what I
like,
was waiting
"Fine, just
for. I was waiting for the broken finger.
Yeah.
almost."
Mm.
You see, it's
One
like severely
sorry.
bruised.
Absolutely. One thing I did like about Grandma's performance here, Emily's, was you were waiting the whole time for her to get violent, yeah, and that wasn't
Yes.
shown in any kind of outwardly, stupid, huge way. No, it was very subtle, and but because she was able to portray, embody being on edge, and she was going to break. And if she committed violence, it wasn't intentionally, but it was almost against her own will because the sickness had taken over. You were waiting for that. Not that she's a bad person, but she's a really distressed person, and this can get physical. That distress could get physical any moment. Yeah, yeah.
I think the movie does a really good job of like making sure that like Edna is always humanized. Like it's she never becomes the villain or the monster.
No, not at all, not at all.
Which I
She's
think
not
is super
monstrous till right
important.
at the very end.
No.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to that later, but even then it's very cleverly done. And it's that, I mean, that's sort of where a lot of the horror comes in, is that waiting for Edna to like, when's that flip gonna happen?
Yeah.
And then the
to who?
horror becomes metaphorical at the end.
Yeah.
The horror is in the message at the end, as far as I see it, but we'll get to that. Yeah. Yeah.
So Sam is now starting to realize that her grandmother is not okay. And maybe
No.
she shouldn't move in with her because like maybe something is seriously wrong and maybe her mom has been right to be so concerned and be sort of like not know what to do because it's such this sort of incomprehensible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the tug and pull. I don't know if it's just me. The tug and pull of the family relationship here, the family dynamic. Yeah.
For sure.
Because there is the good intent. Hey, we can make this great. We'll be all happy family around the Christmas tree by the end of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Let's not put Nan in the retirement home. We'll work this out in the family.
Exactly. But then you're faced with the actual reality of this disease. Yeah. And also the question, perhaps to the very end, is asked, do you even really like these people? Yeah, to be blunt. Yeah, do you even really want to get this involved? Yeah, in this. Yeah, that is the tension, the push and pull, I think, on a lot of this, which fuels the horror that you're alluding to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think at this point, Sam and Kay sort of trade roles in like their investment to the mother because Sam sort of starts to pull away because she's like she's had this sort of moment where, you know, her gran like can't say her name, is getting confused, like sort of attacks her. And then Kay is realizing that like this is, you know, a part of their life now and she needs to figure out how she's going to navigate it and she needs to support her mother. It's just it's just heartbreaking. And now Sam is sort of investigating like what happened with Jamie and why their neighbor Jamie doesn't come to the house anymore. And we find out that there's a lot of moments where Edna sort of talks about like that's where it got in or it's gonna get into the house, and there's a lot of paranoia about people not being who they say they are and like that sort of thing. And we sort of find out that she's locked. There's been a point where Jamie's been over and she's actually locked him in to a cupboard and he has been scratching for hours to get out, and that is why he's not coming back.
And we see the scratches later.
Yeah, which is so scary.
Yeah, no, that's the constant double play with your perception of what's going on.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's like it's scary and there could be a supernatural explanation, but even the director said like everything that happens sort of also has like a real life explanation. Like if you really want to get into it, nothing is like nothing is unexplainable or like completely supernatural.
To a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna
we get into the banana scene, but we'll get there.
So now Sam is very interested in what is through that door, and what has come in, and she goes exploring. And
what do you sorry, if I may ask at this stage, what do you both think that the figure is / represents?
I honestly, my brain says that it's the great grandfather.
Interesting. Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay. Is this from a family down through the ages type?
Yeah. So the scene which we haven't got to yet in the Scream Queen's running of the film is that the clearing with the flowers where she's burying the photos. I guarantee that's where the hut
cabin was.
The cabin was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Scream Queen.
I don't know. I think it could be anything. Like it absolutely could be like a figure from their past. So like Kay's father or Kay's great grandfather, but it could also be like something metaphorical. Like it is the you know, the hereditary illness that is sort of there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
The
absolutely.
family,
sort
the
of
Absolutely.
family curse. The family
yeah, the
Yes.
curse.
family
I like
curse, like
that. I
the
like
sort of
that. Yeah.
demon, if you want to
Mm.
go like demonic,
I
like
think
is the
it
sort of
references something in its marketing about curses, being cursed.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean that makes and like
that does
we're
make
starting
sense.
to
Mm.
find a lot more sort of scary post-it notes from Edna being like,
Yeah.
don't let it in, or it's gonna get you, or it's coming, like things like that nature where it's like she's scared of this thing. Um, and
And the
it's like sort of
handwriting getting progressively worse.
yeah, and it's sort of telling her what to do, like is sort of the
Mm.
implication. It's like this thing is like forcing her hand, it's sort of, messing with her. Um, and she sees it as something that she needs to stop. So yeah, I
Mm.
I think it could be a heap of things. And then we go into that scene where Kay sees her mother outside and she's like, God, where is she going? Um,
Yeah.
and she catches her eating photographs,
Memories,
eating
eating
fam
memories.
eating memories. That's the thing.
There
She's
you go. There we
eating the
go.
memories.
There we
And
go.
she's like, this is probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
Mm.
Is Kay's like, don't do that. Don't eat the photographs. Um,
Mm.
but then she's sort of like, she is eating them and she's like desperately trying to figure out how she can like keep the memories like inside of her.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. And then Kay is sort of realizing that she can't fight it anymore. Like
Mm.
she needs to let her mother do like what she needs to do to like feel okay, because like, her mother is going through something like awful. Just like so awful, like constantly confused and like
Mm.
feels like she's losing like everything that she holds dear to her. Like yeah, so she has that photo album and she's trying to bury it, saying like, well,
Mm.
this way like it can't get to them, it can't
Yeah.
take away my memories. um so she just lets her bury it, and it's this sort of beautiful moment where she's like, well, you can live with me, like you can just come and live with me and I'll take care of you. And her mother
Yeah.
sort of says yes. She like finally gets to hear her mother be like honest about like how she's feeling. Like I can't remember exactly what she says, but she just says like she's talking about like she doesn't like she just wants to go home. I think she said I just want to go home. Like, and I just want to go back. So it's
Yeah,
like
and
she's like,
also where is everybody? Or they've all gone?
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's gone.
Everyone's gone. Yeah.
And Kay's like, no, I'm here. And she's like, no, everyone is gone. Like, where
Yeah.
is everyone?
Because
And like,
because I think she is
yeah,
questioning at the same time. This film is questioning at the same time. I think the disease is the overarching shadow of everything here.
yeah,
But there's
yeah.
also the decay of the family relationship as well.
Oh, yeah.
So the eating of the photographs is I'm not going to forget, in general. Yes, I'm just not going to forget. But also I want to hold on to this. I want this family to stay together. I want to keep our memories. I want to make more memories, that sort of thing. Because
Yeah.
once we get to the next bit, when we get into the bathtub, that darkness takes back over. That's got the highest status again.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful intent with overcome by the dark reality again.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark, it's
yeah.
depressing. It's very depressing.
It's really sad. I
Which is not a
I
bad
think
thing, of course. Yeah.
when I watched this movie for the first time, I was scared. And when I watched it for the second time, I was sad.
Mm.
I was just so sad because, obviously there's a little bit of mystery going into it to begin with. Like I knew it was sort of about dementia going into it, but you don't know how sort of supernatural they're going to take it. And once
Yeah.
you sort of know where they're going with it, once you know how it ends, the second time you watch it, it's just like, God, this
Okay.
is so sad.
Okay.
That's how I felt anyway.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm a crier, so that's just a personal thing. But I found the second act of the film, it was second act, I don't know. yeah, it's so sad. Because it's just like everyone's starting to realize how everyone feels and no one can do anything about it. It's just this like the train's already
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I
good way
just
to
like
put
I
it.
just
Yeah.
I love that it's
Shit.
this inevitable. It's just like they're
Yeah.
trying this like desperation to prevent the inevitable. And then, they get to acceptance, I would say eventually, but it takes a while. So, this is happening and
Hmm.
Sam is getting lost in this sort of labyrinth of she
Yeah.
discovers this is not just
I
a
may have
walk-in
missed this. I
robe.
may have missed this, yes. And full disclosure, I may have had some of my medicinal last night watching with the watch along. So I do need to see this a second
Stressful.
time. I may have missed has she got lost into this house? How did this physically happen? How was
So
it shown on screen?
she walks into the cupboard that like has the lock on the door and she's
Okay,
like sees
where
a
the kid
pile
was
of boxes.
kept?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she sees a
okay.
pile of boxes and then she looks beyond the boxes and
there's
she
a door.
realizes it's a hallway.
It's a Narnia
Yeah, that she
moment, if
realizes
you will.
it extends beyond this
Okay,
room
okay,
and
cool,
she
cool,
shines her torch. She shines her torch and she sees a figure walking past.
Okay.
So she decides to climb through.
What compelled her to the cupboard where the kid was kept in the first place?
Because she asked the dad, she talked to the dad about what happened to the son, and she was like sort of sussing out
Okay. Then she went back to okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, cool. Because this is a huge stylistic turn at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
Huge.
house within the house is very odd.
Yeah.
I love it though.
I've got thoughts, but I didn't hate it.
There's like 3 sets. I think they like they had like a bunch. They had like 2 houses, and then they also had like a studio build of like this.
Okay, and a couple of externals,
labyrinth.
2 or 3 externals. Yeah.
So you're really like, I mean, what do we think that this like sort of labyrinth house represents?
Okay. Baron, I'm going to ramble, so you go first.
Well, I did say before that I used the word mind palace, like from Sherlock Holmes.
Sure.
So the
Cool.
house is maybe the inside of Grandma's head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to digress slightly into the Baron's psychozoology corner.
Oh,
Please do.
crypto psychology, sorry, crypto psychology corner. Sorry, that's the other way around. I if you wanted an explanation for what's happening here, the way my brain went, it went, they are all breathing in spores. There's some sort of mold or ergot in the building, so they're all sitting in the lounge room giggling and having no idea where they are. So what we see on screen, they're experiencing inside their head as hallucinations from breathing in mold.
Interesting.
I'd love to see that as a
I
DVD
love
extra.
that.
Just them sitting
Yeah.
around and
Giggling in the lounge room. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my crypto psychology corner. However, if we're to call this something supernatural, then I would say the house sits where there's a lot of family history. Parts of the house are from previous houses. There's some unconscious connections to ancestors that have awoken and warped space. Because I mean, like there's scenes coming up where she's breaking out of the house within the house by bashing through a wall with a pipe while they're being chased by the monstrous grandma. And it's very definitely to them physical. Like it's like they come through that wall, they don't turn around and suddenly the wall is fine. Like
Yeah.
it's like the damage is still there and they're still covered in bits of what I'm guessing must be asbestos board, like given
Yeah.
the age of the house. Like they're not healthy after this. There's and like everywhere we see, and you see it on the poster, like the poster's got just this encroaching mold on it. So that house is affecting everybody that's in it, and no doubt because of the themes of family, it's stretching back 3, 4, 5 generations.
Did
Maybe
they
even
stretch
more.
it too much? Are there too many
No,
layers on this cake?
it got close. It got close
Okay.
when she was in the house and no one inside this house within the house, and she was running around screaming and no one could hear her. In other parts of the house, that was probably as far as I'd be willing to go with it. Like if suddenly she'd run down a hallway filled with boxes and post-it notes and come out into a giant dining room with her great grandfather. That would be a step too far.
Oh,
But
a miniature of the house within the house. Within the house. Yeah.
They didn't go to a meta level. It was
No.
all potentially physically possible.
Yeah. It was borderline, really borderline.
They
didn't
took
it
it
didn't
right to the edge
sell
and then stopped.
Yeah, it didn't sell me on last night's viewing with this layering of the cake, but it didn't feel stupid either. And there was a great analysis of that. Yeah. Carry on, script. Carry.
I agree. I think, it's sort of, and I sort of see it, obviously it's a physical space that she's walking through. I guess we don't really know like what actually happened in the house to get from like point A to point B, where she's running around and she's burying something in the yard and now grandma is chasing them down.
I guess there is the bathtub scene, yes, where she does
that's true.
which does lead up to Monster Grandma as well. So one could
You're right.
posit that the mold, as is seen in the house and on her, has fully taken over, externalizes to the house and to the psychological reality of all involved. May have been the justification. Please.
In the bathtub scene, the daughter is looking through the window. She's literally looking through part of the house to see the grandma, and then when the door opens, grandma's fine. Fine.
Still got the knife though.
Yeah.
I sort of see like the labyrinth in extended of the house. I sort of see Sam going through that as her sort of realizing the extent of her grandma's deterioration. Is sort of like exploring her grandma's things and realizing sort of like how trapped her grandma has really become, and she's getting sort of lost in that. Is sort of how I see it. Like you said, it's sort of the grandma's mind is what everyone is walking through.
I can just see the real estate ad for selling that house though. So this is a 2-bath and between 5 and 83 bed. It's got a curse, but it'll only sort of come on you when you're getting a bit old. So you'll have your kids, and you'll get a good life, but after that you'll become a skin shedding monster. Is that okay? Yeah, but full accountability. Like I'm telling you all about. Like as a real estate agent, I have to tell you about. Yeah.
Yeah. It did feel like a little bit like Charlie Kaufman to
Yeah.
me, like being
Yeah.
John Malkovich, like
Okay. Yeah,
Eternal, like
sure.
yeah, that's what it sort of felt to me. I think he does that sort of like
Yeah.
absurdist, like
Yeah.
like moving between like real and fake and the absurd sort of very well. So that's what it sort of reminded me of.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Mark Kermode, if you know that film critic, British guy, been doing it for decades. He's one of my
Okay.
go-to. Shout out, check him out. He saw it as a surrealist drama horror. Yeah, so he made a
Okay.
point of
Yeah,
saying
I
that
would
this
agree.
has surrealism within it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the mold, like it's from the get-go. You're like,
Absolutely.
this
Yes,
is
that is.
yeah.
Yes.
The mold is another character.
Yeah.
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 And maybe if you look at this realism thing, I'm just trying not to be negative here, because the way
No,
in which the darkness overtook everything, I wasn't entirely sold on, so I wasn't entirely emotionally invested, but I did come out appreciating this as a very well-made film. Yeah, so just in a nutshell, that's my and the surrealism
by the
thing
way,
is with dreams as well, yeah, because the first touch of this we get is with Kay's dreams. Sorry, Baron, go.
I was going to say, by the way, Natalie and Christian, writers of this film, if you happen to stumble on this little podcast and we've got any of this wrong, please feel free to reach out and
Yes.
correct us. Please,
Yes.
if there's something you want to tell
Love
us
your
that
work.
yeah, but it's amazing. But yeah, if we're getting this wrong, tell us, and we'll
I totally admit to being lost in translation here, cultural differences, and not my lack of experience, because I know you are taking perhaps stuff from Japanese horror, which has different referential points and ways of looking at things that the West barely understands to this day. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
my
then
bit,
we get to the bathtub scene where the mother, she pees herself on the floor. And Kay is like, oh God, Mum, like let's get you to the
But
bath.
I've been cleaning.
Yeah, I've been trying to fix it. Everything is fine. She notices the urine has like the same like smoky blackness that is sort of like taking over this house. She goes back upstairs. The mum has locked the door. She has no way of getting in. She climbs on a chair and she sees her mother sort of, I mean, we see a close-up of Edna's chest and it's sort of like decaying and black and like you can see inside of it. And
wasn't something on her neck as well?
Probably. It's sort of like spread itself. It started as that bruise that the doctor noticed, and now it has grown and it's like her skin is falling apart. That's pretty gross. And Kay sees her sort of
the wax,
stabbing into
the
it.
wax, the skin. Sorry, just clocked that. Yeah.
Oh, that is so true. Edna's a candle maker. She carves candles. So
oh my
there you
gosh.
go. That's I didn't make that connection till now, so well done.
And Granddad was an artist. They find his sketches, so it's a very artistic family.
Yes. So she's sort of trying to get, I don't even know what the stabbing is supposed to be doing. Well, it's shocking.
It's shocking. We get our violence.
That's alarming.
Yeah, we get grandma.
It's also, it's like, what is she doing? What is she trying to do? Like just get it out of her, or
good question.
We don't know.
We don't. Yeah, maybe she's trying to control the situation, control the process herself. I don't know. Yeah.
And then she sort of takes off, and Kay is like, "Where are you going?"
Scurries away.
Also, she scurries away. She doesn't know where Sam is at this point. Sam is still like trapped, absolutely
Yeah.
trapped. Does not know where
Lost in
she
the
is.
walls.
Yeah, and she can sort of, everything is like sort of shrinking and becoming really like compact. It's very
Yeah.
like the set
Claustrophobic.
design is amazing. I like just like the way it looks is very impressive. And just gross. And so Kay
CGI
is
was
trying to
pretty good. CGI was pretty good.
Yeah. And so this is where Kay sort of realizes Sam's gone missing, and this is where Edna really starts to turn on Kay, and her bones are cracking. Like she is just she's falling apart, falling to pieces, as like before Kay's eyes. Her skin is just like discolored. This spot is just like growing. This mold is all over her, and she's just
gone. She's gone full Romero zombie at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. Sure. And then she's just like pursuing Kay, and like to do harm to her
With knife.
With
Yes,
knife.
yes,
She does have the
which
knife.
is
Is
important
it the
to mention.
candle carving knife?
Yeah.
Do we think? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
Because it's not like a kitchen knife. It's a thin. It's an artistic. It's an art piece.
Yeah, those curved
I
numbers.
say art piece. Craft piece.
Yeah,
Craft piece. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and maybe I had a thought at this point that maybe she's trying to kill her daughter and granddaughter to stop them having to live through the curse.
I think there is that to it. Yeah, I really do.
Try to save them. Again, it's trying to stop the inevitable, trying to, you know, and this part, like, although it's very like, there's a lot of sort of freaky things happening. There's this desperation. There's still, they want to protect each other. Like Kay is trying to protect her daughter, trying to, you know, make sure that she doesn't see the absolute worst of it.
Yeah.
Like she's like, your grandma is,
Still,
and she says, they hear each other. They sort of you can hear each other through the walls. And so Kay sort of discovers that Sam is inside the walls. I don't know how exactly she gets in, but their house is sort of all over the place at this point. They're sort of just like
surrealism.
They're just
and doesn't she get chased by Edna?
Yeah, she does. She gets chased, and then they sort of end up. They're all inside.
She gets into the cupboard. They're both in the cupboard at the same time, aren't they? At the end, and the door is locked, and then they go into Dark Narnia.
Picture behind me where they're in the
yeah.
And Kay says to her, "It's not her anymore."
Yeah, because Grandma's in Dark Narnia. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Grandma is losing her skin fast.
Yeah,
she's scrawling on the floor as well.
She is. It's falling off her. It's
this is where it gets
crawling.
Contemporary horror. This is very much a contemporary horror scene. This one. Yeah.
I hate when people
horror at this point.
People dragging themselves along the ground. Hate it.
Really? Oh.
I'm really freaks me out. Anyone crawling along the ground.
What about when they go up onto the wall and then onto the ceiling?
Love it.
No. Any sort of crawling. No,
I watch Still / fucking Born because of crawling along the wall with cool talons and shit. Piece of shit.
Oh, okay. I'm so sad it wasn't good because I love.
Tell us how you felt about it.
Tell us how you really feel.
Follow me on Facebook. Check my letterbox. It's coming out soon.
So they're trying to break out of this labyrinth trap, this mind palace that they're in, and escape Edna. And Kay is trying to sort of get Sam free, because Edna is fast approaching. They sort of break through.
She's fast, slow approaching.
She's fast, slow approaching. She's dragging herself quite fast.
Again, contemporary horror scene. This one.
Yeah.
And so that she has that lead pipe. She like breaks through. It's where we sort of have seen the mold over the mantle on the fireplace. That is where they come out of.
Okay.
And they
nice,
push themselves
where the
through.
Christmas tree was in the cold open.
Yeah, in the lounge room. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a place where trauma occurred, and then you've got a representation of horror, yeah, where they come out of as well, yeah, of
yeah, a
trauma.
lot
Sorry,
happens
of
in the
trauma.
lounge room.
Yeah.
And that doesn't stop Edna. She still follows them through into the
Oh yeah,
main
she means business at this
area of the
stage.
house.
Yeah.
She does. She's crawling out. And a lot of these there were stunt women that were part of this film, but they did a lot of their own stunts. There are quite a few like stunts, I would say, like in this section of the film that they were a big part of, which I think is fun. And Edna crawls out and she just is looking, she doesn't look like a person anymore. Like she looks like an alien wearing a person's skin. It is just like actually falling off of her. And this part is like this like kills me because they find a post-it note on her that says I am loved.
I'm loved. Oh
my God. Like I'm gonna cry. Like
yeah, that's heavy. That's heavy.
Like
yeah.
like ooh, really got me because it's like she has to remind herself that there are still people that love her. Oh,
yeah.
like that is terrible because her disease is telling her that these people that are in her house that love her are like imposters, are trying to steal from her, like that she's alone. Oh God, it's just that part really gets me. And this is where it's sort of she's not the monster anymore. She's not this monster sort of after them. She is, this is where they really start to like not humanize her is such a funny word because it's like she is becoming so non-human like in appearance, but they are just sort of, you feel so deeply for her. Like at this point in the film, you're like, she's sick and she's tired and she's just like, she's exhausted from just having to like constantly convince herself and remind herself of the things that she's losing. And she's just like this almost like not like Benjamin Button like, but like she is almost like infantile.
Sorry.
She's
are you up
almost like
are
a
you up
little
to
baby.
are you up to the very end?
Almost. I think
carry on.
there's also before she's decrepit there's also a huge fight scene.
Yeah, the fight,
where they beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
with the
when
pipe and
yeah, that's when
Mum smacks grandma, almost
she
caves her head in
does.
with a crowbar. Yeah.
So she's not looking well. And so sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. That is when they find the post-it note. And then Sam is like, we have to go. Like that's not her. We need to get out of here. We're gonna die. And Kay is like, no, like I can't leave her like that.
And it's so classic. It was like like a final girl scene going back in to kill the baddie. No, we've escaped. Yes, but I've got to finish this. Yeah.
Yeah, she gets as far as the front door and then closes it in her daughter's face.
Yeah. Like
so good, and it's such an interesting switch from the beginning because it's like Sam is on her side of the door at the beginning of the film, and then now Kay is the one going back into the house. It's so beautiful, and she like this is what I mean when you say that she's like an infant almost, Edna, because Kay sort of scoops her up in her arms. It's like so like touching and so like gentle. She like picks her mother up and carries her up to her bed. And she's talking about the surrealist, she starts to peel her
like a human banana.
Like a human banana. She's peeling bits of skin until she is I think she's called the Other, is sort of the name of the Other.
Oh really? Okay.
Let me verify that. But yeah,
that's interesting.
There's a really nice moment.
Yeah.
So there's a really nice moment when she's peeling her mother, and they shift the breathing from Robin's voice to a male breath.
Mm.
So, and it happens really slowly. So the breathing when it starts
Oh,
is female
nice
breathing,
catch.
and then
Yeah.
then there's a masculine breathing at the end.
Interesting. I didn't pick up on
One of
that.
the reasons I was running late for this is because I rewound the file to listen to it again because I thought I'd misheard it. And yeah, there's a moment where there's kind of
It's
two
very
voices, and then
interesting.
there's male. So
When
yeah,
you're talking about who did you say? The father of Edna, the grandfather,
yeah,
great
the
grandfather?
grandfather.
Mm.
Look, I made a note here, which
Huh.
is this the great grandfather wearing his daughter's skin, wearing the grandmother's skin?
Whoa, that is
Well,
interesting.
in whatever form it's being
Yeah.
represented on the screen. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I really kind of like this theory, actually.
Mhm.
I
Especially
like
with the
that
breath,
too.
the male breath says a lot. Everything is
Yeah.
intentional. This isn't slap
Yeah.
happy, throw anything up there. No. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
And
I think
the peeling
yeah.
is very loving as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not like it's not
yeah,
like ew, like
almost like
I'm
washing an
feeling this
infant.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what or I think in an interview the director described it as like when a relative dies, like when they like wash the body
Oh,
Mhm.
sure,
like in
sure.
preparation for a funeral. That's sort of like what it feels like. And I think that's very true.
Mhm.
In this scene
I
And
would
and
agree.
she
yeah,
becomes so small.
and she
Like, you know, when it's all peeled
smiles
away, she
happily.
does.
Yeah.
The most happy human at
Calm.
peace, relax, calm smile.
And very cool. This was
No
you know,
skin.
there were no skin. Yeah. It was like animatronic.
Whoa. We're still recording, yes. Okay. So I just
Yes.
popped
Okay.
in and
Good.
out. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's easily edited. So continue
Okay.
wherever you are. I'll just catch up.
I think she lays the mother's body to rest and they're sort of like the Baron said, they're sort of spooning on the bed. It's very
Okay, you're up to there. Yeah, cool.
sweet and maternal. And then Sam, of course, joins them. And there's this, not the final shot of the whole film, but it is, I would like,
Yeah.
the final shot of all the characters together is, you know, the three generations. So it's like
Mhm.
the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter. And it's like beautiful.
Mhm.
And then the real kicker of it all
Mm.
is Sam pulls
Mhm.
her mother's shirt down and she sees the
Didn't
same
need
sort
it.
of dark.
Didn't
Yeah, you
need it.
did. Yeah, you did.
Didn't need it. Nah. Didn't
Like
need
a
it.
happy ending.
I love that they have that in there.
I love that it's there, but they
Oh yeah,
didn't need it. They didn't need it.
yeah.
Save it for the cold open of the second film.
The sequel, Relic 2. Yeah,
Grandma's young again.
Yeah.
it's terrifying that like
Yeah.
again I think that it really gets to the
Yeah.
horror of this film is just this the cyclical
Exactly.
nature of this disease and how
Exactly.
it's, you know, it's like,
Exactly.
oh, that happened to my, and I guess it's sort of the Baron's
Mm.
theory about, you know, the great grandfather wearing his daughter's skin. In a way, it's just like, this is something that I'm gonna take on. It's
Has
just
to
like
do.
constantly, yeah, passing down, and it's just like the terror of it, of seeing it and like having to watch it happen, knowing it's gonna happen to you
Which
as well.
is,
It's
and
just
simultaneously, don't know if you already said, but simultaneously being the dementia as well is going to be
Yeah.
passed down.
Yeah.
There is no escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
it's
grandma's
so scary.
grandma's message was love each other, just be there for
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen. Don't let it be as dark as it was for me.
So I put a note here which said it's all about family. They didn't want them to be alone. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful movie. Obviously I chose this one, so I'm a little bit biased. Obviously I'm gonna love it. But you know, it's one of the best films I saw last year. It didn't come out last year, but I saw it last year.
2020, yes.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, 2020. A big year.
I wonder if they
So-
just snuck it in just before.
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
January, so it would have just like
Okay.
right before.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
nice.
Good timing.
so
Mm.
that's the movie, and it ends, of course,
Yeah.
on the
Yes.
molded sort of stained glass window, which again,
Mhm.
I think, it's a big metaphor throughout the film. I think that stained glass is also representative of
Yeah.
family passing things down, because it's taken from the great grandfather's cabin and now it's on their house, and it's that hereditary thing.
Yeah. It's been a couple of things about mold as a symbol of horror in a couple of movies.
I
There's one
love
called
it.
Black Mold. I had an idea about mold taking over a human body, an old man who was being cared for by a nurse.
Oh,
But then I see two movies already using the idea. But hey, that happens.
Well, then
yeah,
there was Creepshow with Geordie Verrill, the character played by Stephen King. So there was a
Remind
character
me,
in that
us.
got taken over by mold from
Okay.
I think it was from like a meteorite from memory. It's been a long time since
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Oh, there's also Night of the Living Dead, then, if we want to go there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mold is a powerful
yeah.
symbol for horror.
I
Definitely.
love
Yep.
it.
Symbolizes a lot.
I think it's
Resonates. Yeah.
great. And just, I mean, not, I'm like like obsessed with it because I wrote a monologue where it was like a metaphor for like just like people just like letting things sit for a little, to like a relationship just like festering in a house, like just like getting
Sure.
just like
Yeah.
toxic and toxic. So I'm just
Yeah.
like really fascinated to see other people like use it as a symbol, because I think it's like, so obviously it's a very startling image, like black mold, and like black mold has a reputation of being very dangerous. It's actually not
Yeah.
that dangerous. It's not as dangerous as people think, and like obviously asbestos and stuff, but it's like obviously it's dangerous. I'm not saying it's not dangerous, but
And it's
with
always a little
research,
subtle reminder, though, in
yeah,
real life that things decay. Yeah.
yes,
So I can
yeah,
see,
Yeah.
why it was brought into this film and others.
yeah.
Yeah, good
So do
film,
we want to
Screen Queen. Mm.
rate this
Rate
one
it?
then?
Of course. We'll leave Screen Queen to last as her choice. Yeah. I'll
Okay.
get it out of the way because I think I'm the most negative, even though negative's too strong a
Ooh.
word.
Okay.
And I did talk about extenuating factors, personal factors. I've watched in a string now, in a row, films with not a lot of killing. I know I'm sounding real basic, and even Meatheady's saying this, sure. But I haven't seen enough blood or gore or deaths in my horror movies out in and out of the podcast. So it was tainted by that. Yes, it was tainted by that. I wasn't entirely sold on Dark Narnia. I'm more okay with it now after our discussion. I think I would probably enjoy this more when I'm in the right mood for it, when I haven't watched 5 other films prior that have kind of done the same
Watch some
thing.
slashes first.
Yes. And it's my choice
Yeah.
for the next movie, and trust me, I've got one.
Mm.
But overall, no, absolutely excellent performances, really good sound design, MVP for me for this film.
Yeah.
But great cinematography, superb performances, great directing, especially for a first film. I might even go and find some interviews or something to see how she was using what was seen on the screen in terms of production design and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's
That
very
means something
interesting.
that I'm ignorant to. Yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah.
was at a 2 and I was at a 2.5. I was last night. I was between flopcorn and satisfying, but I'm going to bump it up. Yeah. Because I'm open to being schooled, and I like that. So I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to give it satisfying. Yeah, Baron.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to go a little bit higher than a 3. I'm going to go for a 3.5. It's close to a 4. I find I had the same complaint as you. Not enough
Okay,
death.
good. Okay, it's not just me.
Not enough killing.
But look, I'm going to go a 4. I will raise it to a 4 because the sound design was amazing, the set design was amazing, the performances were great. It
The
started off a bit
symbolism was
slow,
cool as well. Yeah.
and after our conversation tonight, I go from a 3.5 to a 4. So that's a delicious.
Delicious.
Delicious then
Yes.
evil, isn't it? It's delicious then evil.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Lightly,
it gets a
lightly
delicious from me.
delicious if you want it. Lightly
Yeah,
delicious. I
yeah.
call mine lightly
Yeah.
satisfying.
Nice. Okay. So yes, I get a not lightly delicious on that one.
Good.
Definitely worth seeing.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
I think we all know what I'm gonna rate this film.
Yeah.
It's an evil
It's,
popcorn.
it's
for
a
It's
me.
an
popcorn
evil
right now,
popcorn. We
yeah.
need
It's an evil popcorn. Ding, 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 ding. Pew, 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 pew. I think this is my second evil popcorn after Talk to Me. I think I also gave that an evil popcorn. I just love this film. I'm a big sucker for like mother-daughter relationships in
Mhm.
media. And I think this film is so beautiful. And I just like horror as there's this like beautiful quote from like Guillermo del Toro where he talks about like it's like such a beautiful way to like bring things like into like bring feelings and like all of that shit like and give it like physical form. And I just think that this movie is like such a perfect representation of like how you can use horror to, make shit. I'm absolutely all over the place with this description,
Well,
but I love it.
But this
say
is your
say
thing.
say that you
This is
gave
your
say
type
that you
of thing.
gave it say that you gave it an evil popcorn again. So say that
I gave it yeah. I give it an evil popcorn.
No,
Okay.
that's not good. You're a chainsaw. Hang on.
Oh, this is as grassroots as it gets.
I
isn't
can't
it?
I can't even hear it. I'm like, oh,
We're just general tech wizards all round, aren't we?
I've got
yeah,
a soundboard thingy.
We'll build all that up. We'll build all that up,
Pew,
readers.
pew, pew.
Don't you worry. Yes.
yeah, I
children of
love it. I
popcorn,
think
we'll get there.
using horror to create manifestations of trauma and things that aren't physical, make them physical, make them spooky, and
Yeah.
really like show how it affects people in like a real way. I think it's
Yeah.
very good.
Drama with monsters. Drama with monsters. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. Blah
I
blah
do.
blah. Someone else said it better. Read up on Guillermo del Toro, I guess.
No, this
he has, like,
this
really...
is the type of film that keeps horror legitimate. It's a legitimate genre of film.
Yep.
It's a legitimate art film.
As art
form unto itself. Yeah, absolutely.
Art.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I just it really surprised me when I first saw it, and I'm very glad that we could watch it on this.
No, absolutely. And I put it in the school. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I put it in the school. It seems to be part of that period, that little era of Hereditary, Midsummer, Relic, that grief, trauma-driven horror. Yeah, but very intellectual about it, though, as well.
And it stands up.
Yeah.
Like, it stands
really
up against
does.
those films to me.
I think it does,
At least. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd put them in a festival. I'd put it in the festival with it, the grief festival.
It does sort of give me Hereditary vibes, just even like visually.
Little bit. There was The Well for me as well, maybe because we had done it, recency bias, it's in context framework of the pod. But is that family relation in an isolated environment, being the other Australian horror, gothic horror that we've done?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening.
Sure.
Watch the movie.
How was your trip to Tokyo? How was your trip to Tokyo?
It was amazing.
Just in general,
yeah, I loved Japan. Huge fan now. I want to go back. It was cold, which was a huge plus. It's been a heat wave here in Australia, so I'm really missing it right now.
What was yesterday?
It was like feels like 42
30,
or something.
Yeah, it was 37.5, feels like 47.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was insane.
It was terrible.
I'm still a Kiwi. It's not good. You go outside and it's just burning. I feel like I'm going to get on fire. Anyway, there you go. It's hot here, people. Overseas,
it's hot,
America.
and it's not in Tokyo, so that's why I like Tokyo so much.
Very good. Cool. Glad you had a good time. Very good to have you back.
Do we have anything we would like to plug?
Baron?
Well,
you go
obviously
outside.
I do go outside, yes. Well, I'm on a little bit of a health kick at the moment, trying to lose some weight. So just for accountability purposes, to everyone listening to the podcast, I've lost about 16, nearly 17 kilos. And I'm just going to keep it accountable. I'm putting it out with every piece of social media that I can. So that way, if I fail, it's on me and people know about it. So I shouldn't fail. But shout outs to Evil Corp.
Always.
That's lots of fun. Go along to that. Shout outs to the various, I was going to say murder rooms.
A new job.
Rooms. Yeah,
I work in red rooms now.
Red rooms, yes. But yeah, I've got some stuff coming up this year. Some exciting news that I'll be able to share once it coalesces. But yeah, it's certainly coalescing very soon at Evil Corp. Coming up in February, we'll be doing our first Valley Variety show. Cade, who hopefully will be listening to this, is one of the people that's helping to organise that, and I'm helping to organise that. So I believe that's going to be on the 23rd of February, just to give it all of its letters.
Soon.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Comedy, music, puppetry, death. No death, hopefully. But good insurance.
Dark illusionist show, yeah. A gory magic show.
That would be good.
Yeah,
I know some magicians.
We're thinking about that as well.
Yeah,
variety wise with
good.
Cade. Yeah. We'll let that, grow of its own accord. What else? Yes. I look forward to making some films very soon. Yeah. Which is going to be happening. Yes, I'll talk more about that when they're actually happening, because I have to think about what I want to do as well.
We should put up a link to that short film that we were both in together where we met.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
I'd be interested to see
why not? Yeah, okay. Just throw it on the Facebook. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'll find it. I've got the feeling though that because I've done with the trauma-based stuff for now, and I'm getting into some more aesthetically pleasing, more bloody, gory material.
You said you had a film for our next.
Yeah, that's
one.
what I'm
segue
into. So I think I'm going to be making more stuff along the lines of The Loved Ones. Yes, gore fiends, splatter heads out there. Yeah, we're going to just get down and dirty and get some blood and gore up in this. There's family involved, absolutely. A bit of a different family to this.
Is it about dementia?
Is it a Christmas movie?
Have you guys seen it at all?
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, you've seen it, but okay. I think you'll like it. No, I think you'll highly enjoy it.
It's been
on my watching it again.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's been on my to watch list for a while now.
Yeah.
It's not dementia, but they're fucked up. They're fucked up in their own unique way. This family, absolutely. It's so romantic. I look forward to you seeing it, Screen.
Wow.
But just to change it up a bit, because the films have been great, but they have been quite serious, quite heavy.
Yeah.
So this one is lighter and fun, but it's also quite fucked up. So you won't be disappointed out there. It is a horror film, definitely, and I like how we're showing different modes of horror within Australia. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Screen Queen, back to you.
Well, that's us. That's Relic. Let us know what you think of the film. Listen to us. Listen to the podcast.
Follow us. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Check us out on Instagram, on YouTube. We have a new YouTube channel due to technological disadvantages, and so subscribe to that new one.
Yes, which is, if I may, Evil Popcorn Podcast. Yeah, that's the YouTube.
Yes.
Everything else at Evil Popcorn Pod.
Yeah?
So make sure when you're looking at the YouTube, there's the profile pic, whatever you call it. Yeah, it's the white and the red. It's not the gray background, it's the white background.
White and the red.
Main thing is make sure you see Evil Popcorn Podcast. That is us. Last upload was Night Swim, because it's the most recent. Yes, Night Swim's not on the old one, because we're just going to let that fade into distant memory. Yeah. So just to clarify.
We will have two. This is our second episode of 2024. Stay tuned. We have a lot more coming. We're looking to cover all of the new releases They
Yeah,
come
Screen
out
Queen, come
horror
to the movies with
releases.
us next time. Absolutely.
Yes, I will
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
And I will be going to see Night Swim.
Okay, cool. Let us know.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
go
s-
and
I'm
go
gonna
and
s-
see Night Swim.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
put the
sure, it's
floaties on.
perfectly fine. Oh, it's
Um,
perfectly fine.
Thank you for
Don't
listening.
hang
Yeah,
on. If
keep
you
it buttery.
don't,
Mm.
hang on. If you do go and see Night Swim, don't watch the short first.
Okay.
Watch the short after you've seen
That's
the
important.
the
Everyone out
cinematic
there.
one.
Everyone
Yeah.
out there. Maybe I'll leave the short. I'll post the short. I'll give it a
Okay.
couple of weeks. So you'll go see the
Yeah.
cinema one first if you're
Yeah.
interested. Yeah.
And
Right.
listen to the podcast we did. But yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Well,
Keep
happy
it buttery.
holidays.
Peace. Happy horror days.
Bye.
May your popcorn not have any leftover kernels.
That's where we
Peace.
end it. Yeah, we're ending it just on that.